Okay, so now we are officially recording on Zoom. I'm, again, Devorah Spilman, founder of the InStory Way and host of the InStory Show. And this is part of our InStory Show live series. And with me is Kay Rettich, who is a member of my InStory leadership team. She went all the way through InStory and graduated up into leadership with me, and is a great support and inspiration to me and all of our community. So I think what would be nice, Kay, is to just share, just because even though you interviewed me for this show and I didn't interview you, I'm still going to turn the tables on you a little and just have you introduce yourself a little bit about what you do and why you joined InStory and where it led you, and then we'll kind of get into where we are now in the moment also.
Okay. I'm Kay Rettich. I live in Melbourne, Florida, which is on the East Coast, about an hour south of Kennedy Space Center. I'm a technical writer. I work for a large corporation. And when people ask me what do, I tell them I just translate the way engineers speak into a language that the rest of us can understand. So I've been doing that now for, well, a long time. And I'm going to be retiring in 2.5 years. And I joined InStory a year and a half ago as part of my exploration process for what I was going to do when I retired. And I really didn't have any expectations except to give me another road that I might travel down when I retire. But within 6 months, I had started a whole new business called Key Collage, where I take all of the collaging that I have done for the last 30 years and use that to help people get in touch with their own feelings and their own beliefs, and find answers to questions that maybe they didn't even know they really had. And recently I just finished writing a book that talks about how I was able to get in touch with my own feelings, because things happened when I was young that caused me to just shut everything down and become numb to myself. And when I started getting my feelings back, it was quite an adventure. And I thought, well, maybe other people could benefit from that also. So again, I combined my collaging with my own experiences to create a book to help other people. And
so how did InStory help you do that?
Okay, so like I said, I've been collaging for a long time. I went through a period of time when I was quite depressed, and every time I would get a new therapist, she would ask me to journal. And I'm a technical writer. It's not hard for me to write. The problem was when I wrote, my words got me tangled up into some kind of a downward spiral, and I would write myself into a corner that I couldn't get out of. And then my therapist would say, Kay, this is not healthy for you. You can't journal anymore. But I had all this gunk inside of me that I was trying to get out. And that's when I started remembering how I used to collage when I was in high school. I would go through magazines and find pictures that were kind of like what I was feeling. And I would combine all these pictures together, and then I would bring it into my therapist and I would say, see, look here, this is how I feel. And I think because when I'm writing, I'm in the left side of my brain, and when I'm finding pictures, I'm in the right side of my brain. So my right side was not the logical thing, and I never had a group of pictures tell me that, you know, the world would be better off without me, the way my writing did. So collaging became a healing thing for me, and I just thought it was something that I did, no big deal, right? But then Devorah said, no, Kay, this is something, it's your talent, and let's see what we can do with it. And just having her tell me that this was something special was all the all the impetus that I needed to get myself going on this whole new path. And I'm very grateful for the help that and support that I've gotten from Devorah and the other women in the story.
You know, I think a lot of times, you know, I'm always saying this line that we're a little invisible to ourselves, right? And so often people have these extraordinary talents that are just so natural that they don't seem like a talent. It's just the funniest thing. And, you know, that's why in a lot of ways, like you kind of can't do your thing on yourself. Like we need to see someone who sees us. And often what we each, I think a lot of us, who are in this healing, transformational, creative world is we see each other more than we see ourselves. Like I saw more, like when you posted your first collage, I was like, oh my God, that is the most, I was so blown away by it. It was so different and amazing. And I was like, when I asked you if you had more, and you're like, oh yeah, you know, because it took you like weeks to even show us that one. And it turned out it was we were so blown away. And I think you had never gotten that response to your work.
Right.
Right?
Well, I never believed it. And I didn't even believe you at first. I mean, I had to listen to you and all the other people in InStory before I could even begin to believe it.
Right. But, you know, that's such a good point, because that is what happens. And that's why it's so important to be in a very safe, very supportive group, because it's like you have to rewire the wiring that has the old story embedded into it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like there's no getting around that. And that's, you know, over the years, I've discovered that that's a big part of being in a very loving, very creative, very supportive, aligned group, is they see you and your talent as being awesome, as opposed to like, what the heck did you think you were doing? You know?
Right.
Right? Because didn't you expect a whole different response when you posted?
I thought people were just being kind. I really didn't think they meant it.
Right. But here's the thing. If you're brave, like here's the thing, like on level under that, what you liked your collages, right?
Well,
Like
yeah,
for yourself.
they helped me a lot.
Right.
But I just never thought that they would help anybody else.
Right. So this was a great insight I had a year or so ago that I started really teaching, that if something moves you, it will move your tribe. It won't move maybe the banker down the block, but it will move your tribe, the people who are aligned with you, connected with you. So when you come into a group like InStory or any other aligned group, they're on your same wavelength. So when you show them something that moves you, it will actually move them. And so I often say to people, do you like the thing you made? And when we make cool stuff, we love it. Like I joke about that. Like I'll write something, I'm like, oh, like I love that. And then I'm like, is that okay? Can I like love this thing I made? And like, oh, but I loved it, but maybe no one else will. And so here's the litmus test is, when you're in a safe group, if you loved it, if it moved you, it will move your community. And don't you find that to be true, Kay?
And the other thing is, even though you make something and you really like it yourself and you know it's really good, it feels kind of conceited to show it to everybody else and have them think, you know, well, I'm just bragging. And so when you're in a group where people just accept that as, well, this isn't bragging, this is just showing us who you really are. It's just such a relief.
That is such a good point. Like, I think it's because so many of us have that story of being snubbed in a sense for being who we really were. Like as kids, you know, parents, the adults around us, mostly they didn't know any better, honestly. So, and then have this story over and over. You'll see it again and again in all my interview series, that the women talk about how when I was a kid, I could do this and this and this and this. And then they did this and they did this and they did, you know, and they were shut down or either abused or humiliated or yelled at or got in trouble or whatever bad thing it was. And the smart thing as a kid, obviously, is you shut it all down so you survive. But here's the thing, we're now not in that situation. So now it's not actually dangerous, but the wiring has been set for such a long time that to rewire takes some time, and takes some support, and takes a new kind of safe place. But the good news is, okay, as an example, it works. Like, you get yourself back, you get past that. It does work. It is possible. Even though it doesn't feel possible. And that's where it takes courage. Remember, we were kind of talking about, let's talk about that. Like I really talked about how the importance of people developing courage by being in the InStory year group, but that's turned out to be kind of true. So maybe you can reflect on that a little bit.
Well, it's really nice to be in a group where you can post something that's really you, something that's kind of scary to post, something that feels vulnerable to post. And it takes a lot of courage to be able to do that, because even though in retrospect I can say, well, a year and a half ago I didn't have any of this key collage stuff, and now I've got my website and my business, and I figured out all of this stuff. It kind of sounds like it was just a simple thing, but it was not simple, and it wasn't easy. And it took a lot of encouragement from the other people in the group and from Devorah. And it took a lot of just being brave myself to try out this thing and to expose my, all of my scary stories to other people, where I don't know how they're going to be accepted until I post it and it accepted with love. But that, when you're thinking about it, it's very intimidating. And if you can't dig somewhere and find courage and remember, well, the last time I posted they were nice to me, then you stay stuck in your scared little do things the way I always did, and you don't grow to your potential that way.
Right.
It takes courage to grow to your potential.
It does. It does. It takes a lot of courage. That's a great line. It takes courage to grow to your potential. And, because otherwise I call it staying stuck in the spin cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the spin cycle feels so active, but it often is not productive.
Right, exactly.
And sometimes the spin cycle looks like you do like 100 free interview series that you watch, but you're still not producing anything new, and you're still too afraid to share your authentic self with the world, and you don't actually move forward, and you don't actually feel better. One of the things I've noticed, when people come into InStory and say, well, is it going to be hard? It's going to have a lot of assignments, have a lot of work. It's like, no, it's not school. It's unschooling. It's joyous. It's healing. It's fun. It's soul nourishing. Like, we come on our calls because we love them, not because we have to. Like, when I originally learned, it was like my coach said, do 3 calls a week and have 1 week off. And I started doing that. I was like, I don't want to do that. I miss the women in my group. And then we make extra calls. If I can't make it 1 week, we schedule for a different day, because it's very healing and soul nourishing. And it's interesting now that we're in this time of the coronavirus and everybody's home and coming online to connect. I'm thinking, we've been doing that for years now. And we've amazed ourselves at how deep our connections are. Kay and I are so connected, and we haven't met in physical person. Well, we have once, actually. Wait, weren't you? Oh, no, we didn't. But see, that's the feeling I have. I feel
was
like,
was I asleep? I don't
right,
remember.
no. I'm like, we had a retreat a few years ago, and I'm like, she was there, wasn't she? But that's what happens with this kind of deep work together, is it feels so connected, and it starts to help us from not feeling alone. Because one of the things that happens is that often in the people who live next to you, they don't share your visionary self. They're the people who've made you play small. So now we have this ability to reach each other. And I think now more than ever, we are being called out to use this online domain to build this deep connectedness. And it's used for many things that are not helpful, but it's a neutral tool, right? So we have figured out how to have our deep little wacky group where our hearts and souls are nourished. And I think it's being asked of us more than ever now. I don't know. Let's talk into now a little bit, and just how your experience of, developing this kind of closeness and support in this online domain.
I have become very careful what I expose myself to on the computer, on the internet, because I don't want to be in that place of fear and hoarding. And I mean, I stopped watching regular TV years and years ago when I finally gave myself permission to not have to know everything that's going on in the world, because frankly, I don't want to know. I don't care if other people think I've got my head in the sand. I'm keeping myself safe and healthy by only exposing myself to positive energy and not things that are just going to suck you dry.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the things that I like about InStory is that we can discuss the things that are going on right now with the virus and the pandemic, but people are not talking about it from a place of fear. They're talking about it from a place of elevation. And this is what I heard you can do that will help. But it's not things like go out and buy more toilet paper. Things like I have a healing process. Does anybody want to join me? It will help us feel better. And and I like that kind of thing. It seems like a much healthier way of handling the stress of what's going on right now.
And what's interesting is, even separate from what's going on now, I've had this group for about 5 years, and there's always something going on. I mean, this is unique and bigger, but I always joke, like, there's all hell is always breaking loose. Like, and sometimes it's a tiny little all hell breaking loose, and this happens to be a very big one. But there's always something, always happens. There's always something happening. And I talk a lot about, how do you get back up? And so one of it is, we've learned these incredible tools for resiliency, for getting back up. And a big part of that is what you said, is just getting positive input coming in. And then in a more personal way, I've been talking a lot about, how do you lead from your lane? It's been one of my over and over themes right now. And I think it's the bigger idea of InStory altogether, is, how do you be yourself? How do you finally lead from your own intuitive guidance, your own creativity, your own natural gifts, rather than keeping them all to yourself? Like, you didn't lead with all your wisdom from your collaging until you came into InStory, and now you have a whole new way that you lead from your authentic self. You're putting a book out, you have clients, you have a website. Like, it's just a part of you that was in you but not expressed.
Right.
And so I think that's what's happening, is that a lot of women come to me and say, I have all this, but I don't know what to do with it. Like, I don't know how to shape it. I don't know how to bring it to the world. And I'm like, I don't know, who the heck am I anyway to do it? So now the challenge is not to let the world fear hold you back from bringing your light forward. Like, more than ever, we need that courage, I think, to put our own personal growth, talents, abilities, like that soul calling forward. I just listened to Carolyn Mace, and she's I've been trying to listen to very different thinkers from very different perspectives, because I do think that besides listening to the basics, I also posted Gina Sager, who was a speaker on the show, and she was a surgeon. I posted her concrete, what you need to do. Then I posted Isabel's interview with the doctor, who is this way out there energy thing that I can't even explain, but you can go see Isabel's interview with him. And then I listened to Carolyn Mace, who was really talking about prayer and the power of our words. And she did this prayer about your soul. And I'm always about getting into your soul. What does your soul want you to say? So I just think that, like what Kay said about being more expanded, how do we get more expanded? And not stay in that contracted spin cycle place. So that's why we're really inviting people to connect with us, post comments, reach out to us in whatever place you happen to hear this, email us back, whatever, follow along. And we're going to try to make some, I haven't figured it out yet, but I'm going to try to make like an easier path for people to get into InStory for the whole year. If you're feeling at all interested, just message me or email me. um, because everybody has a difference you can make. And now maybe more than ever is the time to honor the calling of your soul. What are your thoughts, Kay?
Well, it just seems like the whole world is pulling in, like you're pulling into your own little house. You don't have the ability to travel anymore. You like you used to. You don't have you you. I'm not even going into work right now. I'm working from home, and it just seems like I'm pulling everything in and hiding under my shell. But because it seems like that's what I need to do to keep safe from this virus. But the thing is, you can be safe inside of your shell and just sort of sneak your little computer inside and get online and connect with people who help you stay grounded, help you keep your feet on the ground, help you get ideas of different ways of handling this new way of living that we're all doing right now. So, that's why I am so grateful for being able to be in my own space, but still have a connection, a safe connection with the rest of the world.
Right. And that's a big part of being in a group that loves you, that you trust, that encourage you to bring your light out in the world. All right, so before we wrap up, I've been ending each one of these morning Facebook Lives with my things. And, here I am talking about listening to all these woo-woo people. And then I like to say, well, here I am, woo-woo and proud. So, um, you know, I think we have to try everything right now. I was trying to explain that this morning when I was listening to these diverse people saying, do the physical thing to stay physically responsible, and then do all of the expanded woo-woo things about, that you love, that feel true to you. Do them all, because why not? So we're going to do a little bit of my version. So go ahead and close your eyes and just begin to notice your breath coming in and out. And really allow yourself to feel that shift to stillness. Feel a sense of breathing bigger than your physical self. And feel that awareness that you are more than just your physical being. Allow your awareness now to shift to that flow from above, and feel your connection to God, Source, the universe, and feel that pure light from above coming down to the top of your head, filling your whole body, your whole being with light, love, healing, blessing, guidance, clarity, down through your feet into the earth, grounding you in the earth. And breathe up that solid, rooted, comforting energy of the earth into the center of your being. And be aware of being in that state of connected flow. This is the first step of my InStory guided process. It truly is a foundational process that actually really works. It gives you access to your higher self, to this higher realm, and it gives you access to your stories, to images, to metaphors, and to support that is true, that will always be there for you. Now we're just going to do the first step. It has the acronym STATE. We normally go through think about it, ask, trust, explain, interpret. And asking and trusting is really crucial as you do this deep work. And it gives you access to this expanded realm. And so for now, what I want us to do is just feel a sense of this blessing of light, that you are filled with healing light. And now imagine that you're sending that light out to others, and that they are being surrounded and filled with this healing light. And that it goes outwards to the people you love, the people you know, and then expands horizontally over the whole world. And then at the same time, imagine that there's this light above, like the clouds, like the sky, covering and surrounding our entire planet and raining down, flowing down to our entire planet. Very healing vibration, a healing light that is transforming everything to a healing vibration. And that everyone is receiving it. Because there's something about adding our intention for healing to everybody else who's doing it, that it does something. Even if it's like prayer, it does something even if we don't always know the direct cause and effect reality. But feel this prayer that the world be healed, that we learn our lessons, that the new beauty comes forward. And then ask for your own healing, your own guidance, your own courage and strength and bravery to trust the calling of your soul and to follow that. Feel that that light is in you, strengthening you and guiding you. Feel enwrapped in a lot of love and a lot of healing. I am in this moment sending out that healing to you, to strengthen you, to support you, to guide you. May it be that you know that you are healed. May you be healthy and well, and may all your loved ones be healthy and well, and may we spread that healing out to the world. And if you are feeling a calling of your soul, may you be blessed with the courage and clarity to answer that call and follow it, to bring your gifts out into the world, because you are worth it. We are blessed and we are a blessing. Take a moment again and feel that light is showering down upon you, illuminating you and illuminating the path before you. Feel deep gratitude for this blessing. Let it heal you, strengthen you, nourish your soul. And trust this. Trust it. Trust yourself. Trust your intuition. Trust this higher guidance. And feel this blessing. And may it be so for you, for us, and for all of our world. Take a breath. Know that your breath will always bring you back into this elevated healing space. And then when you're ready, breathe yourself back into the moment. And come back, open your eyes. And come on back. Anything particular to share that was interesting to you or surprising to you in the process, Kay?
I went off to Never Never Land. I have no idea what was going on.
I kind of took us into that expanded realm on purpose, where there's like this very expanded healing energy that is kind of beyond our thinking. So I'm not surprised. I felt this like strong flow of actual real healing energy coming down for all of us. There is really something powerful going on that we have access to, as much as there's this very virulent virus that is taking us down. There is just as virulent a light lifting us up. It's amazing. And those of us who choose to access it will get access to it. I do really feel that. They're happening at the same time. It's, I don't know, it's an extraordinary time in many dimensional realities in many different ways. So, I think we're just being asked to expand, not contract. Learn what you need to learn, do what you need to do, and then expand, and receive this higher light and this higher guidance. So I'm not surprised that it took you. Neverland is this land of what's possible. That's its metaphor. So. So thank you, Kay.
Thank you, Devorah. I always like doing your process. It helps me stay centered and calm.
And probably so much more too, right?
Oh yeah. Well,
right.
Like I said, my mind can go. I have a tendency to keep a tight control on what my brain does and where it goes. And when I do these kind of guided processes, it's nice to just let it all go. let it go wherever it wants.
Right. And I remember you talking about how you got your permission to let your imagination have its place of strength and power in you again.
Right.
You know, I often talk about spiritual imagination. So it's really allowing everybody to just trust these higher gifts. We need our imagination. We need our spiritual expandedness. It's going to heal us and our world. I really believe that. So come join us in InStory. If you're interested, reach out, connect. I'll tell you how. And as I always say in farewell, remember to go out in the world, share your story, live your purpose, and be a blessing. Bye, everybody.
Bye.